What's up, y'all? It's your boy Josh Showtime. This is Showtime's Fight Forum, where we talk all things fights. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and also get some comments in. Hey, I had a lot of salty people arguing with me about that Lomachenko versus Devin Haney thing, and I don't care. That's what it's there for, man. I'm happy you guys disagreed. It is what it is, man. Make sure y'all continue to comment if you disagree with me. And if you agree with me, have my back, because, you know, I was outnumbered. And I ain't really like that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Y'all was wrong. You mad Devin Haney won. And I didn't vote for him because I ain't say he won because he was black. For the millionth time, I thought it was even fight. And I was okay with either one winning. I said that several times. But we ain't going to go back into that. I'll save that for a whole nother conversation, I guess, if y'all want to keep on commenting and getting upset. It is what it is. But make sure you also follow me on social media at Papa Showtime, Josh Showtime as well. And let's get right into it, y'all. This is about UFC 289, y'all. I still got a winning record, y'all. The winning record is here. I'm still there. This card, I ain't that confident about, okay? This ain't the greatest card in the world, but at the end of the day, this is a fight. This is a card where there are a lot of even fights, okay? And once again, we're talking about UFC 289, and that is with Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. And this is gonna be actually a very action-oriented fight. I'm super excited for it. Cannot wait for that fight to happen. In reality, is that a fight that Irene necessarily deserved? No. But at the same time, ain't too many people at that weight class really deserve a fight with Amanda. That we keep it in frame. But we'll talk about that fight in a little bit. This card is, I would like to say, an okay card. It's not a great card by any means. I will say the co-main is probably the best fight on the entire card, and we'll definitely dive into that because that's a close contested fight. I cannot wait to see how that plays out. Even in the undercard, you have people like Chris Curtis versus Imamov, and then you also have Miranda Maverick also on this card. So we got some solid fighters that are gonna be a part of this card in whole, but it's just not a mind-blowing card, and we haven't really had that in some months. But yet still, like, we have had good fights. We've had really solid cards, not on a star-studded level, but in the entertainment value, we've gotten some good fights, some good cards, I think. It's definitely not one of the best years, I will say, for the UFC. This is definitely a down year in my opinion. We're already halfway through, and there hasn't been like this mind-blowing card that we've had yet. It's just good to solid cards. But that's another conversation for another day. Let's get into these picks, and I'm gonna actually do one prelim fight. So I'm gonna change my rules up a little bit, okay? Because I'm doing really well, but I do wanna make this a little tough. So I'm going to start picking one fight in the undercard as well as the entire main card for my predictions. So the first one I'm gonna do for this one is going to be the prelim main event, which is gonna be Chris Curtis versus Imamov. Now, this is a very, very tough fight for both guys. Chris Curtis, we already know, is very upset about his last loss, which to Kelvin Gastelum, which is a very close fight. And the swing round was a round that was kind of debated because of a headbutt. But yet and still, Chris Curtis did lose. I thought he lost. I thought it was 2-1 Kelvin. And he was really upset about that, but he's getting right back into it. Am I tripping? Like, maybe I am, but this man has been fighting a lot lately. Like, obviously, the Kelvin Gastelum fight, but I could have sworn he's fought another time this year. I'm gonna double check and fact check that, but if so, this man's been very, very active this year. I see he's trying to hurry up and get his rise in, and I respect it. But at the end of the day, you know, the more, I will say this fight is not, it's not a guy against a guy that's like a top 10 guy or anything like that. But Imamov is a very tough guy. He's a good grappler. He has good striking, but I do believe that his go-to will be trying to take it to the ground. Chris Curtis has excellent takedown defense. The issue with Chris Curtis, and we all know this already, and I believe he even knows this, which is he's a slow starter. He's a very, very slow starter. You're not a 5-round fighter right now. Like, this would be fine if you were, always in main events and you had 5-round fights, you could work your way in. Fortunately, you're doing 3 rounds. You can't be giving up rounds, can't be giving up momentum. He does that way too often, and that's the reason why he's had a couple of the losses that he had, because he just didn't know how to turn the gas on. And also, he doesn't really mix up his attacks as well as he possibly should. Great defense, and he has really good boxing, and he does have nice kicks. He just doesn't use them as much. And like I said, that also goes with him being a slow starter. He just has to pick up the gas tank a little bit, and I think he would I think he should be able to get this W. I think he can beat Imamov. I think it's a tough fight once again for both. And I will call this by saying Chris Curtis will win by unanimous decision. And I think that he's going to make sure that he leaves no doubt that he won this fight by putting a lot of pressure on Imamov and being very aggressive in the fight from the start to the end. And he has good cardio as well. Now, let's start with the first fight on the main card. And that's going to be Eric Anders versus Marc Andre. Now, I think this is personally a build-up fight. I think they're trying to get Marc Andre. I think they're trying to get him to get boosted up by having an established name by Eric Anders, who's not an elite fighter, but he's a decent enough name. He's headlined events before, and it's a good breaking point into the division of middleweight by, you know, introducing yourself. He hasn't lost yet in the UFC. I believe he only has one loss, period. I can double check that, but he doesn't have too many losses. I know that much, and he hasn't lost in the UFC. So actually, let me double check that, because I don't want to be out here stating irregular truths and people be like, he lied. Okay, I did lie. He's lost twice. I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about Mike Malott. That is on me, sorry. I don't think all white people look alike, but some of them y'all do. But anyways, like I said, so he's lost 2 fights, but yet and still, I still think this is a building fight for him. I do think this is gonna be a slugfest. I think they're both gonna stand and bang, and I think we're gonna get a finish in this fight. I'm going to say Marc Andre is the more technical striker, and I think he's gonna catch him, and it's gonna be a 2nd round TKO stoppage. Now, I'm not gonna sleep on Eric because Eric does have really good power, but I'm gonna go Marc Andre on this one. Now, the second fight, we're gonna go, okay, Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr. Now, let's keep it a stack. This is probably gonna be, I ain't gonna say it's gonna be fight of the night because of the co-main, but this has for sure high possibility of being fight of the night. High possibility. If you guys want to bet, I'll put the under on that. I'll put a bet line on that if I was a bettor, just because I think the unanimous favorite will be the co-main, but this one is a sneaky good chance of being that. Why? Because both of these guys are very exciting. They like to strike, and Nate's a crazy man. I already called him train wreck for a reason. Dan Ige is a ridiculously tough fighter. It's gonna be fireworks from the get-go. If this is a border fight, I'll be super surprised. Now, with this, all right, Nate's on a bit of a win streak. I think he's on a 3-fight win streak. Dan Ige's had some wins and losses, but at the end of the day, he's always a tough competitor for everybody. I'm actually gonna go against the grain and say that I think Dan Ige is gonna win. And the reason why is I'm gonna go with power. I think there's a power difference between the both, and Dan just gotta land, and it's gonna be lights out. Nate has a solid chin, but at the end of the day, you get hit with too many of those, you will get slept. And I think Nate's defense is decent, but it's not great by any means. I think he's gonna get clipped, and Dan's gonna win. So I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 1st round KO by Dan Ige, and we're gonna keep this whole thing pushing. But I wouldn't be surprised if Nate win, because he's a tough dude, man. Tough competitor. All right, now the 3rd fight. We're going to talk about Mike Malott. That's the one who, like I said, I believe he only has 1 loss in his entire career. He hasn't lost in the UFC yet. I think he came in through the Contender Series. And then he's fighting Adam Fugitt. Now, that is a very funny last name. I possibly could be saying it wrong because he might be foreign. I don't necessarily know. I've seen him fight maybe 2 times or so, but the name is just, it spells Fugitt though. That's hilarious. But yet still, this is gonna be a very interesting fight where both guys are pretty solid everywhere. Adam just came off a TKO stoppage. Or I'm sorry, was it TKO? I think it was a TKO. It was TKO or rear naked, whatever. It was a stoppage finish. And then we have Mike Malott, who's a very good striker, but also can get you to the ground and get you and get some submissions as well. If you look at his finish rate, it's very versatile. He's not just finishing guys one way. So yet and still, I think this is another fight where, once again, I think it's a build-up fight. I think they're trying to get Mike and not get him an easy fight, because I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Adam's an easy fight. But this is a fight that he should win, and he should win impressively. So I'm going to, once again, I'm gonna go finish as well. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 3rd round rear naked choke. I think he's gonna apply pressure. I think he's going to be able to land a lot of combinations. I don't think he's gonna wear him out with some grappling, maybe put him against the cage, and then 3rd round, I think that he will wear him out enough to be able to get a TKO stoppage or a rear naked choke by the 3rd round. Yeah, now we gotta talk about our big fights. These are the fights, like, oh man, like the co-main. I've been going back and forth. I know in the media they say you shouldn't be fans of anybody. I think that's BS. But if you're a fan of the sport, you're going to be fans of somebody, some way, shape, or form. And I am a big fan of Charles Oliveira. He's one of my favorite fighters ever. And he is fighting Beneil Dariush, who honestly is also one of my favorite fighters. I've been watching both these guys since they started in the UFC. And these guys have long careers. And I am so happy for both guys to be able to accomplish what they have accomplished. They both have always had the talent. But at times they would have like disappointing losses. And Beneil Dariush is finally at the stage. He's basically what Charles Oliveira was 2 years ago, where he's on an 8-fight win streak and nobody can seem to solve his riddle. But yet and still, he's been finished, he's been knocked out, and he's lost. Like, same thing with Charles Oliveira. He just lost his belt. Now he's on the rebound. And both these guys' style are nothing similar, but they both are kind of similar in how they approach fights. They're both very aggressive. They both are very good strikers, and they pack power. They can knock you out. They also have great, Beneil Dariush has great wrestling. Now, the grappling, they both can submit you, but we already know. Charles Oliveira, when it comes to the submissions, compared to Beneil Dariush, is really not that comparable. Charles Oliveira is among a class of himself. Beneil Dariush is solid, though. Now, at the end of the day, don't do that.
He gonna lose. Hit him with a left, hit him with a right. They gonna knock each other out because it's fight night. Ding, ding, ding.
That is not a kid, guys. That is my full-grown wife. That's what she does. Thank you, babe. All right. Cool. And she smells like outside. Anyways, that threw me off. Back to what I was saying. All right. They both don't have humongous holes in their game, but at the end of the day, they're both very, 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 very solid fighters, okay? Now, I can see this fight playing out two different ways. I can see Beneil Dariush honestly wrestling Charles Oliveira and withstanding all his submission attempts and winning a 3-round decision. I can see that 100%. I can also see him doing that and getting submitted. I can also see him getting knocked out. I can also see both. I can see both of these guys getting knocked out. I can see Beneil Dariush getting submitted, and I can also see Charles Oliveira getting decisioned. And that's what makes this so confusing, because both these guys are so versatile. Charles Oliveira could somehow get submitted. That's how crazy this fight can be. And I'm gonna go with my gut feeling, and I could be completely wrong on this, and I'm saying this up front. But I'm going to say that Charles Oliveira will knock out Beneil Dariush. And the reason why I'm saying that is, I think that both guys are solid strikers, but I will say, Charles Oliveira doesn't have the greatest defense, but I think Beneil Dariush genuinely gets punched too much, in my opinion. And I think that he walks forward too much with his chin up, and he gets clipped sometimes. I mean, realistically, what's got him knocked out by, why is his name drawing a blank? He got kneed in the face very, very badly. And I don't know why. Edson Barboza. That's what happened with Edson Barboza. He hit him with a jump knee and slept him while his chin was up. And he also keeps leaning. He leans forward so often. And I think that that's going to get him caught. It either could be a flying knee by Charles Oliveira, who loves to do it, or it can also just be by a straight right. So I'm going to call it knockout stoppage, but I can very well see both guys winning. This is going to be fight of the night, in my opinion. And like I said, if it's not going to be that, it's going to be the Danny Gay fight. Now, the last fight is going to be Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. Now, Irene is primarily a striker. She is a boxer. All right, a lot of the Mexican fighters are boxers, and there's nothing wrong with that, because Gabe, we got a lot of champions. Yet and still, she's going against a person that you genuinely do not want to box with, and that is Amanda Nunes. Now, at the same time, let's keep it a stack. Amanda Nunes could be washed. She could be. She could be worse than what she was. I do believe we already have seen the best of her. She could be steadily declining. Now, she looked good in her last fight versus Pena. She beat the all hell out of her for 5 rounds. But yet and still, we can't ignore what happened around before that. I mean, the fight before that. And the fact that she could be struggling making that weight class as well. So we have to think of Irene, who has really good conditioning, really good boxing, hungry, has an opportunity to beat Amanda. And she's not going to just lay down. I don't believe she'll be intimidated. She will press forward, and it's about surviving the wave. If she's going to try to apply pressure, is she going to be able to survive those punches? If she can, Amanda will get tired. If you put a pressure on Amanda, Amanda will wear out. 100%. At 135, she will wear out. But can you take that? That's the issue. Because Amanda not going to just box you. She will throw kicks. And she will finish you with kicks. She has heavy leg kicks, heavy head kicks. She's a problem, period. So, if you ask me how I see this fight going, I actually think it's going to be a lot more competitive in the first round, where both ladies will honestly have some good, decent showing, But I do believe that at the end of that first round, Amanda Nunes will catch her with a big right hook or a looping right hand, and it's gonna land flush, and then Irene's gonna be slept completely. I like Irene, but I do think that this is a little too much for her. I wouldn't be shocked if she won, but because, like I said, Amanda might be washed, but I'm still gonna go with the champ and say that Amanda Nunes will be in still. Would love to hear what you guys think. As always, man, make sure you share this, make sure you comment, tell me what you guys think, and I appreciate all the follows and honestly all the love that I've been getting lately. All right, so make sure you follow me on social media at Papa Showtime, Josh Showtime, whichever one you find me at. And also, if you love some hip hop, make sure you tune in and check out my radio show Sundays 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Real 98.3. You can go on the iHeartRadio app and check me out. All right. So as always, man, make sure y'all stay blessed, man. Thank y'all for listening.